All right, I'm going to briefly do a video about the Aramaean pantheon of Samal, or Zincirli, as it's also called. This is an Aramaean pantheon. It's influenced some by Hittite and Luwian, and also, of course, by you know, but it's predominantly an Aramaean city-state in the Iron Age. So let's go over this because it's a very well documented Aramaean city-state with its own like pantheon of deities. First and foremost, let's go over the pantheon. So, in the state pantheon, it is they have Hadad, the storm god, the Aramaean storm god, but also El, the old Canaanite father god, is in the pantheon as well. We have Resheph, the Canaanite war god, is here. So we got Hadad, the storm god, the father god El. Resheph is there as well. And we have Shamash, the sun god, but we also have a god called Bar Rakib, or sorry, not Bar Rakib, Rakib El, which is the charioteer of El. So Bar Rakib is like a king's name. But Rakib El, it is thought that that's the moon god of the city, and that this deity is strongly associated with the god Sin of Haran, of the Assyrian city of Haran. So basically, the Assyrian moon god, who is also called Shahar in Aramaean, other Aramaean sources. So we have Sin or Shahar as the moon god. I think because one of the kings also names that deity. I believe that Rakib El is to be identified with the Aramaean moon god. So we have I do find it curious that he's called the charioteer, the chariot driver of El, though. It's interesting. But it could also mean just maybe the charioteer god too. But but it's definitely it's got to be the moon god. I would say. And so we got El, Hadad, Resheph, Rakib El, and Shamash. So there's 5 there. There's 5 in the state pantheon. Elsewhere, though, in sources from Samal and Zincirli is the goddess, the Luwian goddess, the Syro-Luwian goddess Kubaba. Now, she originates from Syria, but she's popular among the Luwians. Of course, she's the city goddess of Carchemish. So, but Kubaba is also honored in the pantheon of Zincirli, or Samal, however you want to call that. As well, that is the only goddess mentioned in the surviving sources that we have. There's no, so so the goddess, like Atar Ata, or Atar goddess later, as she was called, um, the fertility goddess. Early on, she was associated with like Astarte. Um, she might be there though. There's some trace there of her, and I will go over that here as well. So the main way that that a lot of the Aramaeans liked to um, depict their deities was through, not through like not always through anthropomorphic iconography, but symbolism, like the symbols of the deities. Like for the sun, you have the sun disk. For the moon, you have the crescent, the lunar crescent. Um, for Hadad, you have the horned like helmet, or like that's how they depicted Hadad. Like it was the horned helmet, right, and not the yeah. And for now, it gets a little trickier with El and Reshef though, because there's okay. So there's the yoke. The yoke symbol looks like that, basically like a rectangle without the top line going through it. So it's um, the yoke should be associated with El, because the yoke is traditionally associated with the high god Enlil from Mesopotamia. Enlil or Elil, and El is related to that deity, and it signifies like the Supreme Father deity. So I take the yoke as El's symbol in the iconography from Zincirli. Now, here's where it gets tricky, though. There's two more symbols, divine symbols, in the iconography. So there's a symbol of a 5-pointed star in a circle. Now, normally we'd think, okay, well that sounds like Astarte, something, or Atar Ata, the Aramaean like version of Ishtar and Astarte, but we also have the deity Reshef, and Kubaba is also, she's not included in the royal, like she's not usually included, but she was honored there as well. But whenever all the deity names are being included, there's no goddess mentioned, which is but she is mentioned along with like Reshef in a separate inscription. So she had to have been honored at least sometimes, and she was known for sure, goddess Kubaba. As far as Atar Ata is concerned, I'm not sure. So the star within a circle, it could be, I was either thinking that it's the planet Venus, of course, then that would be evidence that Atar Ata and or Astarte was honored there, even though there's no written source evidence from that city. Or maybe it's a reference to, maybe it's supposed to be like the planet the Mars star instead of the Venus star, planet Mars. So that is a little iffy. The next symbol, though, there's another one. there's another one that we need to go over. So this one is a circle. I think it's surrounded by a circle. I think they're probably all surrounded by a circle. If they're not, then I just thought wrong, or I just remembered wrong. But in this one, it's two heads, like kind of like the Janus, the old god Janus from Rome, from Italy. The double-headed deity. There's two heads looking left. There's one looking left, one looking right. I believe the helmet on the deity is also horned, but it's not Hadad. It's not Hadad, because Hadad's symbol is there with that. So it's thought that it could possibly be another of El's symbols, other than the yoke, because I think in that particular one the yoke is not shown, whereas that is, the two-headed one is. It could also be Reshef, the symbol of Reshef as well. It's obviously not one of the other deities because their symbols are shown. But the star is like the star and the two-headed symbol, the two-headed deity symbol, that's a little bit of a gray area. That's a little bit iffy to call what deity corresponds to those. Obviously, the star would usually correspond to Atar-Ata, or Astarte, the goddess associated with the planet Venus. She's not mentioned very often in early Iron Age, like Aramaean sources. I'm not sure why, but she is. She was worshipped among the Aramaeans because the earlier Aramaeans, because we did find there's a procession in one area where it shows Aramaean deities, and Atar-Ata is right behind Hadad in the deity procession or parade, the deity procession or parade on this rock cliff thing. So, but of course, in later times, Atar-Gatis, the consort of the god Hadad, they're like the two high deities of the Aramaean religion and culture. But at this earlier date, I don't know whether to safely say that the star represents her or not. I like to lean towards that, but since I'm not sure why there's no written sources on that now. Interestingly, Reshef has a double name here. It's called Arku Reshef. It's a double deity name here. Just like Rakib El. There's also Arku Reshef. Some scholars assume maybe Arku is related to the god of Palmyra, Arsu, who is like a warrior, militant, protective, like caravan deity that rides on a camel and carries a spear and shield. I don't think that they're two separate deities. I think that it's like a double deity. So I think it's just referring to Reshef. So the double deity thing could be El. I'm not really sure why El would be pictured that way, though. Like, why would he be pictured from left to right like that? But it could be him. I was thinking if it was... So, okay. I was thinking it was Reshef, since he's a warrior deity. Like, maybe he's looking left to right, because he's, like, protecting the worshippers. Just thinking, I was just thinking of it that way. Then you have the double deity Arku Reshef, because what if it's Arku and Reshef? I mean, that's, but I kind of look at that symbol as Reshef. I kind of look at it as like a warlike symbol. Like he's protecting the left and the right, kind of like that type of thing. Now, and the star symbol is, it could be Reshef too, for the planet Mars, but it could also be Atar Ata, or Astarte. And she's just not mentioned in the inscriptions. That's possible too. So, and of course the yoke is L's symbol. I don't think it's Rakib El's symbol. Even though the yoke, chariot yoke, no, I firmly associate Rakib El with Sin or Shahar of Haran, the moon god of Haran, the Aramaean moon deity, who's very important, a very important deity to the Aramaeans. So there's a couple other Aramaean deities that don't figure in Haran, which not sure exactly. I mean, that don't figure in Zincirli, Samal. But we'll go over the other areas in a later time. I just wanted to briefly go over this. It's a very interesting city-state with deities that I've always been interested in. And so let me know what you think of all of this information, and if you have any comments for me, leave them below. And I will probably end the video here. I'll be back with related content in the near future. As I said, I wanted to go over some more Aramaean pantheons from other city-states. I'll go over some Luwian ones and some other local ancient Near Eastern ones as well that I'm thinking of doing. Thinking of doing ancient Hatra, Palmyra, those places as well. So hope you find the video interesting, and I will be back with more videos in the near future.